What's up, Packers Nation? Victor here, and I need you to buckle up because this might be one of the wildest stories we've talked about on this channel in a long time. There are reports floating around that the Green Bay Packers could actually trade their head coach. Yes, trade him, not fire him, not extend him, trade him. We're talking about something unusual in the NFL. Before we dive in, real quick, smash that like button. Subscribe to Packers Nation Report and help us reach our goal of 1,000 subscribers. If you bleed green and gold, this channel is home for you. Let's get into it. Set up what's being reported. According to reports, including discussion coming out of Forbes, the Packers are being tipped to move on from Matt Lafleur, not necessarily by firing him, but by exploring the possibility of a coach trade. And that alone tells you how complicated this situation has become. Lafleur is 46 years old, joined Green Bay back in 2019, and this was his first head coaching job in the NFL. Before that, he was a quarterbacks coach with the Titans and even spent time in college football at Notre Dame. This isn't some washed-up coach. This is a guy who, around the league, would be viewed as a legitimate asset. The breaking point, the Bears game. Now let's talk about why this conversation is happening. That playoff loss to the Chicago Bears was brutal, absolutely brutal. Green Bay was up 18 points at Soldier Field in freezing conditions and somehow gave up 25 points in the fourth quarter. Final score, 31-27. That's not just a loss, that's a collapse. That's situational football completely falling apart. Clock management, defensive adjustments, composure, all of it. And now the Packers are sitting on a 5-game losing streak. In Green Bay, that's not just unacceptable, it's alarming. Fan base vs. front office. Here's where things get really interesting. There's a growing divide between what fans want and what management wants. A lot of fans want Lafleur gone immediately, fired, clean slate, start over, but the front office seems to be thinking more strategically. Instead of eating a contract or making a panic move, they could leverage Lafleur's value. He has 1 year left on his deal, and here's the key detail. There are currently 9 head coaching vacancies around the NFL. That means demand. If Lafleur hits the open market, he's instantly one of the top candidates. So why not flip that leverage into draft capital, assets, or leverage in hiring the next coach? Why a trade actually makes sense. Let's be real for a second. Packers Nation, trading a head coach sounds crazy, but it's not unheard of. And this offseason is especially unique, especially with veteran names like Mike Tomlin stepping away from the Pittsburgh Steelers, creating even more chaos and opportunity across the league. From Green Bay's perspective, you calm down a furious fan base. You avoid firing a coach with league-wide respect. You gain assets, and you control the narrative instead of reacting to it. From Lafleur's perspective, fresh start, no rebuilding pressure, immediate interest from multiple teams. It's a rare scenario where both sides could benefit. My honest take, as a fan, now I'll give you my real opinion, heart to heart. Matt Lafleur is not a bad coach. His early success wasn't an accident. But this team right now looks mentally fragile, and that falls on coaching. When you blow an 18-point lead in the playoffs against that opponent, something is broken. Do I think firing him mid-chaos helps? No. Do I think pretending nothing's wrong helps? Also no. If the Packers can trade him from a position of strength, reset the culture, and bring in a coach aligned with the next era of this roster, that might be the cleanest solution we'll ever get. Now I want to hear from you. Would you trade Matt Lafleur, fire him, or give him 1 more year? Drop your take in the comments. I read every single one. But wait, Adam Schefter drops a bombshell. Could the Packers really move on from Matt Lafleur? I'm not even gonna lie to you guys. When I woke up today and saw what Adam Schefter said, I had to read it twice. Because if even half of this is real, it would absolutely rock the NFL. 2 months ago, we were talking about this team as a legit Super Bowl contender. Young offense clicking. A defense led by Micah Parsons, one of the most dangerous edge rushers in football. Everything pointing up. And now, we're sitting at home after a brutal wild-card loss to the Chicago Bears, watching a playoff run that honestly felt like it should have been ours. And suddenly, Matt Lafleur is being mentioned as a coach on the hot seat. So today, we're going to break down what Schefter actually said, why a big name is suddenly linked to Green Bay. And the big question, should the Packers even be thinking about this? But before we dive in, if you love the Packers, if you live and breathe Green Bay football, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and help us reach our goal of 1,000 subscribers. Let's get into it. Context. How did we even get here? Let's be real for a second. This season didn't feel like a failure until it ended. Green Bay finished the year with one of the youngest offenses in the NFL, yet still ranked top 10 in points per game, top 8 in red zone efficiency, and finished the season above .500 for the fourth straight year under Lafleur. That matters. Matt Lafleur has now led the Packers to 3 straight playoff appearances, a career regular season winning percentage above .650, and consistently competitive football in one of the hardest divisions in the NFL. But the problem, the playoffs. That wild card loss to Chicago wasn't just a loss, it was flat, ugly, and lifeless. Poor situational decisions. Offense stalled when it mattered most. Defense couldn't get off the field. And in the NFL, perception changes fast. What Adam Schefter said. On postseason NFL Countdown, Adam Schefter dropped this absolute grenade. He said, and this is important, people around the league are wondering if the Packers decide to go in a different direction, Green Bay could suddenly become John Harbaugh's #1 destination. That's not fan speculation. That's not social media noise. That's Schefter, the most plugged-in insider in the league. And when he says this coaching cycle is wild and crazy, that tells you something. There are conversations happening behind closed doors. Why John Harbaugh makes sense on paper. Now let's talk about John Harbaugh, because this isn't some random name. Yes, he was just fired by Baltimore after missing the playoffs, but let's not rewrite history. Harbaugh's resume: Super Bowl champion, over 160 career wins, one of the most respected culture builders in the NFL, known for physical, disciplined, playoff-ready teams. And here's where it gets interesting, Schefter pointed out. Harbaugh's agent is Brian Harlan, his father, former Packers president Bob Harlan. Harbaugh is a Midwest guy with deep football roots. That connection alone is enough to make league executives raise an eyebrow. The case for keeping Matt Lafleur. Now listen, this is where I give my honest fan take. Firing Matt Lafleur would still be a massive shock. Why? Because he is still one of the best offensive play callers in football, a coach players respect, a guy who keeps Green Bay competitive every single year. You don't casually fire a coach with multiple playoff appearances, a proven offensive system, and stability in a league that chews coaches up. The Packers are not the kind of organization that panics. The real question Packers Nation has to ask. So here's the real debate. Is Matt Lafleur a great coach who just needs better execution in January, or a coach who gets you close but not over the hump? And if the front office believes it's the second one, then yeah, a name like John Harbaugh suddenly becomes very tempting. This isn't about disrespecting Lafleur. This is about Super Bowls. Now I want to hear from you, Packers Nation. Drop a comment. Would you stick with Matt Lafleur, or would you seriously consider John Harbaugh if the opportunity was real? If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit that like button, subscribe to Packers Nation Report, and help us hit 1,000 subscribers. We talk Packers news, rumors, analysis every single day. This is Victor, and no matter what happens, go Pack Go.